Hello and welcome once again to Principia Mathematica. Today we're going to study how to multiply decimals. Okay, so we're going to start with an example. Multiplication of decimal numbers. So let's say that we have 0.5 times 0.3. So what we do in this case, if we need to, well, I'm going to write it down here, 0.5 times 0.3. So we need to, the best way to do it in my opinion is to express this as a decimal fraction. So 0.5 is equal to 5 divided by 10 times 0.3, which is 3 divided by 10. So 5 times 3 is 15 divided by 100. Now, if we want to express this as a decimal, we write down 15 and then we count the number of zeros, which in this case would be 2. So we need to move the decimal point 2 places. So the final result would be 0.15. Another example, number 2, 0.17 times 0.83. So we write it down here, 0.17 times 0.83. So 0.17 is equal to 17 divided by 100 times 0.83, which would be equal to 83 divided by 100. Now, 17 times 83 would be 1411 divided by 100 times 100, which would be 10,000. So if we want to turn this into a decimal, we need to write down 1411, and then we need to count the number of zeros, which in this case would be 4. So we need to move the decimal point 4 places to the left. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So the final result would be 0.1411. Now we're going to skip up to example number 4, and we would have 8.34 times 14.35. So we're going to write it down here, 8.34 times 14.35. So this can be expressed as 834 divided by 100 times, now 1435 divided by 100. And then this will be equal to 1,196,790 divided by 10,000. So if we want to express this as a decimal, we need to write down 1,196,790, but without the commas. It will be 1,196,790, and then if we need to count the number of zeros, which in this case would be 4, so we need to move the decimal point 4 places. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the final result would be 119.6790. This would be the final result. Let's try another example. 5, which will be 5 times 0.7. So we write it down here, 5 times 0.7, which will be equal to 5 divided by 1 times 7 divided by 10. So 10 times 1 is 10, and 5 times 7 is 35. And then 35, well, we do what we always do, we write down 35, and then we count the number of zeros, which in this case would be 1, so we need to move the decimal point one place, and then the final result would be 3.5. Another example, we're going to skip up to example number 16, and then we would have 0.187 times 19. So we write it on here, 0.187 times 19, and this will be 187 divided by 1000 times 19 divided by 1. Now, 187 times 19 would be 3553 divided by 1000. So now, if we want to turn this into decimal, we need to write down 3553, and then we need to move the decimal point how many places? 3. 1, 2, 3. Example number 19. Here we would have 0.5 plus 0.76 times 5. Well, in this case, first we need to work with this number that is between the brackets. So this number is 0.5 plus 0.76. So first we need to turn this into decimal fractions. So we would have 5/10 plus 76 hundredths. So the least common multiple in this case would be 100. So 100 divided by 10 is 10 times 5 is 50, plus 100 divided by 100 is 1 times 76 is 76. So this would be 126 divided by 100. So now we're going to multiply 126 hundredths times 5 divided by 1. So 126 times 5 would be 630, and then 100 times 1 is 100. So the final result would be 6.30. Yep, this will be the final result. Just let me check something. Okay, everything is fine. So another example, we're going to skip up to example 23, which would be 0.75 minus 0.3 times 5. So we need to sort out first the expression between brackets. So we'll have 0.75 minus 0.3, which would be 7500 minus 3/10. So the least common multiple in this case would be 100. So 100 divided by 100 is 1 times 75, 75 minus 100 divided by 10 is 10 times 3, 30. So this would be 45 divided by 100. So now we need to multiply 45 divided by 100 times 5 divided by 1. Okay? So this would be 225 divided by 100. So if we want to turn this into a decimal, we need to write down 225, and then we need to count the number of zeros, which in this case would be 2, so we need to move the decimal by 1 and 2 places. So the final result would be 2.25. So now we're going to learn how to divide decimal numbers. So let's say that we have 0.9 divided by 0.3. Obviously the easiest way to do it is to use a calculator, but I want to teach you how to do it with decimal numbers. So what we're going to do is we're going to write down 0.9 divided by 0.3. Yes? Then we're going to express 0.9 as 9/10, and then 0.3 as 3/10. Now 9 times 10 is 90, and 3 times 10 is 30, or even better, we're going to multiply 10 times 9, but we're going to leave it like this, 10 times 9, and then 3 times 10. 10 divided by 10 is 1, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. So the final result would be 3. 2. 0.81 divided by 0.27. So again, we write down 0.81 divided by 0.27. So we express this as a decimal fraction, so it will be 81 hundredths divided by 27 hundredths. And now we multiply the extremes, so we will have 81 times 100, and then 27 times 100. Now 100 divided by 100 is 1. Now 81 would be equal to 9 times 9, and 27 is equal to 9 times 3. So 9 divided by 9 is 1, and then 9 divided by 3 is 3. So this will be 3. Third example, it will be 0.64 divided by 0.04. So once again, we write down 0.64 divided by 0.04. So this will be 64 divided by 100, yeah, and then this would be 4 divided by 100. Now we multiply the extremes, and then we would have 64 times 100 divided by, well, 100 times 4, then we would have 4 times 100. Now 100 divided by 100 is 1, and 64 divided by 4 is 16. So the final result would be 16. Another example. 0.125 divided by 0.005. So we write it down here like this: 0.125 divided by 0.005. Now 0.125 can be expressed as 125 divided by 1000, and this one can be expressed as 5 divided by 1000. Now we multiply the extremes, and we will have 125 times 1000 divided by 5 times 1000. So 125 divided by 5 is 5. So the final result will be 5. Sorry, 125 divided by 5. Actually, no, it's not 5. sorry, it is 25. Sorry. What was I thinking? 25, sorry. 7. 0.32 divided by 0.2. So we're going to write it down here like 0.32 divided by 0.2. These can be expressed as 32 hundredths divided by 2 tenths. And now we multiply extremes, and we will have 32 times 10, and here 2 and 100. So this will be 32 times 10, and then this would be 2 times 10 times 10, and then 10 divided by 10 is 1, and then we would have 32 divided by 20. Now I'm going to teach you how to turn this into a decimal. What we're going to do is we're going to divide 32 by 20. Okay? So, how many times does 20 go into 32? 1. So 1 times 0, 0, and 1 times 2 is 2, with a minus here, yeah? So 32 minus 20 is 12. Yeah, so we add a decimal point here, and we add a 0 here. So now, how many times does 20 go into 120? 6. So 6 times 0, 0, and 6 times 2 is 12. So we'll have 12 here with a minus. So here the remainder is 0. So our final result will be 1.6. Okay. Let's try another example. Five divided by 0.5. So we write down 5 divided by 0.5. So this 5 can be expressed as 5 divided by 1, and this 0.5 can be expressed as 5 divided by 10. So 5 times 10 is 50, and 5 times 1 is 5, so 50 divided by 5 is 10. So the final result will be 10. 9. 16 divided by 0.64. So we write down 16 divided by 0.64. So 16 can be expressed as 16 divided by 1, and this can be expressed as 64 divided by 100. So now we're going to multiply 16 times 100 divided by 64. Now 1600 is equal to 8 times 200. And 64 is equal to 8 times 8. So 8 divided by 8 is 1, and 200 divided by 8 is equal to 25. Another example, number 10. This will be 0.6 divided by 6. So we write down 0.6 divided by 6. 0.6 is equal to 6 divided by 10, and 6 is equal to 6 divided by 1. So now we multiply 6 times 1, 6, and then 10 times 6, which will be 6 times 10. 6 divided by 6 is 1, so we will have 1/10, which we express as 1, and then we need to move the decimal point one place because we have just 1 0. So the final result will be 0.1. And now finally, this example, which is 0.64 divided by 16. So we write down 0.64 divided by 16. So this would be 6400 divided by 16 divided by 1. So 1 times 64 is 64. And then this would be 1600. Okay? So now this would be this would be equal to 8 times 8 divided by 8 times 200. So this will be 8 divided by 8 is 1, and then we've got 8 divided by 200. So now, how do we express this as a decimal? This will be 8 divided by 200. So 200 doesn't go into 8 or 80, but goes into 800. So we're going to move the decimal point. Well, we're going to have a 0 here, a 0 here. So then we would have, how many times does 200 go into 800?